Hello everybody, I'm Elwirfy, and today we're going to be playing some more of Stories from Seoul, the Gun Dog. And right now we're going to solve this difficult puzzle. I bet I'll figure it out pretty easily. Because the goal is to get it to here, right? Or maybe not. Wait a minute. Oh, they can go through each other. Look at that. So this is always correct. Hey, there we go. Got it. Hey, I got an achievement. Master of Unlocking. Successfully hack a terminal. Great. After a final rotation, you hear a click as the locking mechanism disengages and the door slides open. Haha, yes! Excellent work, Lieutenant. Thank you, Captain. Although I've never seen someone so excited to enter a room containing a dead man. You'd been so focused on disengaging the locking mechanism that you'd entirely forgotten why you were doing it. With the door open, you can now see into the surgery wing. Sure enough, there's the doctor, lying on an operation table. You shiver as you're hit with a blast of cold air. Whoever had left him in here must have turned the temperature down as low as possible to preserve his body. As the chill begins to fill the rest of the sickbay, you instinctively rub your arms to warm them. You knew that you'd always planned to get in here to examine his body, but now that it was possible, it was much less appealing. Okay. You take a deep breath and steel yourself for what will come next as you step into the surgery area. You'd never been in here before, although when the glass hadn't been frosted, you'd been able to look in on the few occasions you'd been in the sick bay. Sorry about that, my mic was being a bit weird. Still, proximity to the automated surgical assistants made them much more intimidating. A series of long, thin, mechanical appendages were suspended from a collection of disc-like objects which themselves were attached to the room's ceiling by various supports, cables, and tubing. The room's temperature was so low that you could see your own breath, which turned to condensation on certain parts of the machines, glinting with caught light as you moved around them. Directly underneath all of this was the body of Dr. Sifir Rosarium. You shudder as you approach the corpse, although you'd encountered the bodies of the crew of the Obrian. Those weren't people that you'd interacted with, spoken with, people you'd known. Laying here on the table, the lack of vital essence in the doctor was tangible. As sedate as he had been while he was alive, seeing him like this made your stomach turn. Even in the light, his mechanical eye was... Wait. Captain, mechanical prosthetics don't run on power from the body, do they? You call out. There's a short pause before the captain appears at the doorway, apparently unwilling to come in further. Not that I'm aware of, Lieutenant, no. As far as I've been briefed, the doctor's various cybernetics are all powered by industrial-grade power cells. We've got a small, non-standard stock on board just for him. Not many, though, because of their use. They're designed to last for weeks at a time in any circumstances. As the captain continues to talk about what she knows of the doctor, based on the accommodations that came with him being part of the crew, you gingerly investigate his arm. Okay. Sorry about that. At first you try moving the fingers, which yield with minimum effort, indicating that whatever servos inside of them that used to move the joints were no longer functioning. A check of the wrist and elbow joint suggests the same thing. You sweep the hair out of the way of his mechanical eye and look it over, but you can't spot any switch or toggle that looks like it could power the device on or off. What you do notice is seen along the edges where the device meets the doctor's skin, the lens of the eye surrounded by a ring of black. Laying on the doctor's hair back laying on the doctor's hair back. Why can't I? Does that read wrong, guys? Laying the doctor's hair back as it had been. You turned to the captain. Oh, okay. But we kept far more than necessary, especially considering that he'd installed a new set just before we departed. Wait, so... Someone must have taken his batteries. So these parts wouldn't have shut down. It seems like it's already on. That seems obvious. You're saying that his prosthetics should still be functional? As far as I'm aware, yes, they should. They're not. So if something was able to damage them enough to knock them out of action... You take another look over the doctor. Unlike with Dr. DeBauer, there is no bruises or signs of physical trauma. You also couldn't see any surface-level damage to the cybernetics. Something must have damaged their internals, and based on these scorch marks, I'd bet they would have been a huge electric shock. Unless the doctor had been meddling with an electrical supply and engineering, there's nothing on board that could have done this except for a stun gun. Uh-oh. Captain, it wasn't me. I was going to say, like, it totally seems like it's him now. Don't worry, Lieutenant. Freeing me only to walk me through exactly how you murdered someone would be an interesting choice, one I don't see you making, although it does raise questions. But it gives us one answer, at least. Agreed. Since we have since we have what we've come for down here, can I suggest we leave the doctor in peace? Yes, ma'am. As the captain steps from the doorway to the hallway, you follow her out. Turning to the terminal, you reset the components, causing the door to hiss shut. You catch one final glance of the doctor before the door closes, and you sigh. Sorry that you couldn't leave. You couldn't have done more for him before this happened. With a shiver, you replace the top of the terminal casing, causing the screen to flicker back to life. Do we do anything with this? Despite a closer inspection of the cupboards and cabinets, you can't find anything new that you hadn't been able to see the last time. Okay. Let's check the beds again. You check the beds once again, but with how thorough you'd been the first time around, there's nothing new for you to find. Let's just talk. So then, we're to assume that the doctor was killed by large electrical shock, if I'm to understand your assessment correctly. That's right, ma'am. If his prosthetics should still be fundamentally functional, that's the only thing I can think of that could knock them out. Plus, the charring and burns along the points where the metal of the prosthetics met his skin, it looks like they'd conducted a large charge. That's certainly extremely curious. Out of everyone on board, you're the only crew member with the authority to carry an electroshock weapon. So, either you did it... Ma'am, I didn't. I swear that. Settle down, Lieutenant. Or someone else on the ship must have an electroshock weapon. Lieutenant Lord had been able to prevent me from seeing the alerts that must have been sounded when the ensigns took weapons from the armory. I wonder what other logs and reports she stopped me from seeing. You think the ensigns may have done this? Or Lieutenant Lord herself, potentially. Quite the elaborate plan, wouldn't you agree? But then, why go through the trouble of ransacking the medical supplies like this? An excellent question. See if there's anything else you can find in this room. If we're lucky, we might find the password to the doctor's datapad. If you can't find anything, then just activate the datapad and try to figure it out from there. Yes, ma'am. We already looked everywhere. The doctor's datapad. I wish I'd written down his password. He'd written down his password or left some sort of clue. Well, Lieutenant, unfortunately for us, he hasn't. I think this could be our best action, is to attempt, you guess it. What do we know about Dr. Rosarium? Well, I guess he's extremely matter-of-fact, to the point literal, like you said. I wonder. Alright, let's give this a try. Is it password? Please tell me it's password. Ah, that's funny. I love it. I love it so much. I didn't think about it before, but yeah. Oh my god, that is so fucking stupid. The password was password. Because I thought about how he said that when they said any key, he looked for the any key button. Because he's dumb. Dr. Rosario, you could not be serious. What was it, Lieutenant? Password. As in, enter password. A broad smile cracks on the captain's typically reserved countenance as she throws back her head, laughing loudly. Continuing to laugh, the captain bends forwards, her face obscured by her hair cascading down the front of it as her shoulders rise and fall. Eventually, she regains her composure and sits up, wiping a small tear from the corner of her eye, a smile still on her face. As I said, Lieutenant, literal to a fault. Her smile fading, the captain adjusts her hat and jacket and turns back to the reports that she'd been reading. You've done good work, Lieutenant. Now please see if there's anything on that data pad that can exonerate myself and Miss Quinn. Yes, Captain. What the hell do I do with this? Is it this thing? Okay. This looks like it contains the medical records of everyone on board the Gundog. If I go any further, I'll be looking at some really sensitive material, but there could be something in here that helps me. I'll need to make sure I only look at what I need to. So, Cassandra's the one who got knocked out. Let's check it out. Okay, Cassandra got her place of birth. Europa, blood type 0. Most recent update. Patient was delivered to sickbay unconscious at 13:12. Sudden loss of migraines consciousness. Current scans remain conclusive. Indications of neurological condition. Will require escalation to the Colony Medical Center if scan set 3 provides no avenue for effective treatment. Diagnosed with gastric distress linked to synthetic ingredients on board food stores. Ongoing treatment. Standard meals to be substituted for Nutri-Shake powers 3 to 5 times. So, if I'm understanding the way this works, recent update at So the patient was delivered first, and then this happens. Okay. Got it. Who else would actually matter? Oh, Hansen. That's important. There's Hansen, there's his date of birth, Europe Colony 8. Yeah. So, recent update. Severe fractures due to of ulna due to trauma from recent impact whilst piloting armored frame. Automated asphyxiation procedure commenced by 1923. No indication of long-term damage. Diagnosed with complex PTSD on 5/20. Refusal to attend EBT and EMDR sessions. Ongoing treatment, SSRI 250 milligrams daily. I don't know medical terms. I guess we'll just start looking at everyone. Maybe the captain? Recent update. At 10 quarters... Was I not supposed to look at this? Captain, Lieutenant? It says here that the doctor found you unresponsive due to... Oh, right. Patient was discovered unresponsive due to alcohol-induced Visalgia. Level of consumption indicates undiagnosed alcoholism. It says here that they found you unconscious due to a condition, but that's enough to show that you weren't just ignoring your duties when the Gundog's power went off. Well, that's excellent news, Lieutenant. Good work. Carry on and see if you can find something that rules out Commander Quinn's participation in Lieutenant Lord's ridiculous assumed events that we should have what we need. Yes, ma'am. Should we just keep looking at everybody? I don't know. Left shoulder injured. Okay. Dylan. Nut allergy. Of course. Dalton. Generalized anxiety disorder. I agree. He's on medication for it. Okay. Well, Vanessa. Recurring complaints regarding low-impact concussions. No potential hypochondria. Okay. Haru. Investigated for enhanced sensory potential 3 following... Oh, what the hell? Investigated for enhanced sensory potential following 3 consecutive wins in youth frame racing competitions, resulting conclusive further assessment required. So she has weird sensory issues. Okay. So it's gotta be with Cassandra though, right? I don't understand. So, patient was delivered to sickbay unconscious. Sudden onset of migraines. Yeah. I mean, this is also... Have I gone through everyone? Got her. I'm just double checking everything to make sure. Yeah, Dalton. I hope I didn't accidentally break the game. Yeah, she was delivered unconscious. Okay. Well, Lieutenant? Ma'am? Now that you have access to the doctor's datapad, aren't you going to review it in full? Well, I was thinking that I'd take a look at some of the other things before I did. Such as? Well, Lieutenant? Ma'am? Get to it. Yes, ma'am. What the what? Review the datapad entries. I did. Okay. Oh. Here we go. Oh, we need... It's a different pad. Oh, I see. I'm stupid. Okay. It's not just the medical records. Here we go, Captain. I found something about Commander Quinn. Run newer imaging set. Very good, Lieutenant. Is useful? I think so. It says here that he gave her sedatives at 21:22. It was around 21:30 when I came down and found the doctor dead before getting attacked. There's no way that she could have attacked him if she'd just been sedated, let alone kill him. An excellent point, Lieutenant. That should be quite compelling evidence. With this record of the commander's sedation and my indisposition, I think that we have everything we need to know about from the doctor's records to prove that we weren't purposely absent. Wouldn't you say? I think so, ma'am. This should do it. Info. Armored frames. I'm just going to learn some stuff, I guess. Oh, wait, no, this is like the info you find on all this stuff. Oh, wait, this is more than just that. So, he's assigned. For Cassandra Quinn, we can see the times of when he's doing stuff. Patient Hughes. Review completion of classification procedure for wound. Hey, there's me. Administer localized anti-inflammatory. Okay. Mary Bartholomew's provide treatment. Okay. Okay. We got everything. Well, Lieutenant, I think the contents of that data pad should be sufficient evidence that neither the commander nor I were shirking our duties as Lieutenant Lord suggested. Wouldn't you say? Yes, ma'am. It's pretty conclusive stuff. And given the condition of the doctor's body, we know that he was dispatched via means that the commander wouldn't have access to. Do you think this will suffice to prove of our innocence in the eyes of the crew, Lieutenant? Well, it might, but I don't think it'll be enough. We need to do more than prove it wasn't you. We'll need to prove who it was. I see. I can't argue with you there, but how exactly do you plan on achieving that? Well, I was thinking, the doctor kept logs of everything, right? That's one of the ways we've been able to show you and Commander Quinn had nothing to do with this. That reminded me about how everything on the ship is logged or reported in some way, like entering the armory or accessing the central computer. What are you getting at, Lieutenant? This ship, Captain, it records everything that happens, who opens doors, where they do it, when it happens, if weapons are taken, everything. If we can access those logs, then we can see exactly what happened and prove who did it. Once we've got the actual culprit, then we want to prove, then we can prove without a shadow of a doubt that you and Commander Quinn are innocent. A valid point, Lieutenant. But where would you suggest we go to do that? Well, I was thinking we'd head to the central computer. All alerts and messages might get sent to the bridge, but everything on this ship is run by the central computer. So that data will be stored there. If we access it, we can get everything we need without having to risk going anywhere near Vanessa or the ensigns. Once we're there, we can check all the logs for the crew's locations, or if we're lucky, we might be able to spot suspicious activity too. Very well then, Lieutenant. If that's the plan, then I say we head over to the central computer immediately. I don't think there's anything more for us here, do you? Not anymore, ma'am. Then let's depart. With her typical confident stride, the captain walks past you and towards the awaiting elevator. For all of the airs, you notice the slight totter in her step, reminding you that she was still someone who had recently embodied a most full bottle of whiskey. Fair enough. You follow her, moving to stop her from immediately pressing the button that will take you to the central hub. Lieutenant? We're going to have to be careful, ma'am. There's a chance that the ensigns are back on guard outside your quarters. So what do you propose? Well, you rub the back of your neck as you attempt to devise a way to get past the two pilots without being noticed. You're just forming the beginnings of a plan when the captain suddenly lunges towards the button and hits it, causing the doors to close and setting the elevator in motion. Captain! I'm sure we'll manage to figure it out, Lieutenant. You curse silently as you feel the elevator ascend. What the fuck? The journey and your sudden panic does not offer anywhere near enough to come up with a plan as the elevator slows to a halt and the doors open. You thrust your arm out in front of the captain to prevent her from walking into the central hub and slowly lean out past the doors, listening for any sign that the ensigns have returned. There's no conversation or activity that you can make out. Instead, all you hear is the ambient noise of the ship's systems. You take a few more steps forward, highly aware of the sound of your steps on the steel floor ringing out in near silence. Eventually, you creep all the way over to the entrance to the four-side thoroughfare and look around. It's empty. Oh. With a sigh of relief, you head back to the captain. Well, looks like they're still in the hangar. Whatever you did must have kept them distracted. I told you I was quite capable of making a scene, Lieutenant. But we shouldn't waste time. They could still be back any moment. Right. Let's get moving. With the captain following close behind you, you head straight towards the engineering department and the central computer that waits within. You're halfway down the aft thoroughfare when you hear the captain's footsteps stop. Turning around, you find her inspecting the terminal next to the armory. Captain, come on, what are you doing? Wait a moment, Lieutenant Wirfs. Even when we've got all the evidence we need, there's every chance that Lord and the ensigns won't listen to reason. Don't you think we might be a bit more persuasive if we were to be properly armed? I think that'd be worth handling this terminal, as you did the one in the sickbay and getting some weapons from the armory. You pause. The captain was right. But at the same time, unlike the terminal in the sickbay, this one was right in the middle of the ship, clearly visible from both engineering and all the way down the four-side thoroughfare. The ensigns weren't here now, but there was a chance they could be back at any minute. I think it's worth the risk. We should get some guns. We should be ready, because they might not... I agree. I think that's a good idea. Even with your revolver, we wouldn't stand much of a chance if they resorted to using their weapons. Because they have machine guns, don't they? We need something to even the odds. But I'll need you to be on lookout. Do you think you could keep an eye on the hangar entrance, just in case they come back? Shouldn't be a problem. Just make sure not to take too long. Sure, of course. You're already using your screwdriver to pry the top of the unit before the captain heads the opposite way through the thoroughfare. Okay, there's no actual timer, though. Lieutenant! Oh. I overheard Chief Cathy's sending Ensign Cruz to report to Lord. You've got about 30 seconds until he gets here. Right, okay. Hurry. I am hurrying. Ah, shit. Oh my god. Fuck. Oh, thank God, we did it. Okay, I got it. As the door into the armory slides open, you whistle and wave the captain over. You spend a few seconds being surprised at how quickly she closes the gap between the two of you. You'd never thought of the heels that certain Jovian officers wore to be the kind of shoes you would run in, but the captain was actively disapproving that. Without waiting for her, you slip through the door. Woo, we did it! Look at us. We got through. I'm proud of us. Now inside of the armory, you take a look around. Everything was as you expected. You head over towards the locker that Hansen and Haru would have removed their weapons from, and notice that although they'd done a good job disguising the fact that guns had been taken, there were still a few telltale signs. You spent some time looking through the glass at the various weapons, within deciding what would be the best option for if things turned violent. Probably a shotgun. If it wasn't a thought you enjoyed, but even if they were a part of the mutiny, your training as a security officer had led a strong focus to never using lethal force against crewmates. Unfortunately, in this kind of scenario, you weren't sure you'd be left with much choice. Great. As you're accessing the various lethal weapons that you could choose from when the captain appears beside you. So, Lieutenant, have you made your choice? You nod towards a submachine gun. Sure. That's what Hansen's armed with, so it would put me on equal footing with him at the very least. The only issue is this. You move towards the lock in place on the weapons locker. If I try to open this, it'll send an alert up to the bridge, like the one you would have gotten when I took my electroshock weapon. There's no way for me to get it out without alerting Lord. I could try taking the casing off, but the lock's different to the doors I've opened so far. Lieutenant Wirfs, you really need to start thinking a bit more outside of the box. What do you... Before you can stop her, the captain pulls out her revolver from where you'd stuffed it into your waistband, brings it up in front of her, firing 3 shots into the glass before it shatters. Really? It's not bulletproof glass? Okay. Captain! Walking over to the broken glass, the captain takes a hold of one of the submachine guns and hands it to you. Sweet. You got a submachine gun. Am I wrong in assuming that we don't have the luxury to be wasting more time on these locks, Lieutenant? You look back to the captain as you grab a few magazines from the locker, checking for any damage from the captain's creative method of gaining access. No, ma'am, but then consider it a problem solved. Stuffing her revolver into her back jacket pocket, the captain leaves you to finish inspecting the magazines. Satisfied that you've got enough ammunition, you join her by the door, looking around for anyone who may have heard the gunshots. Luckily, the thoroughfares remain empty. The airtight nature of the armory door, coupled with the noise from the nearby engineering department, seemed to have done enough to muffle the sound. All right then, let's go. It doesn't take long for the two of you to travel the remainder of the aft thoroughfare and arrive in engineering. Once there, you slip behind the first, most obtrusive piece of machinery you can find before carefully peering out to check your path to the central computer is clear. With the captain close behind you, dashing along various catwalks that take you to where you need to be. Fortunately for both of you, your path is clear, and it doesn't take long before you're at the entrance to the central computer. Here we are. Pulling out Cassie's keycard out of your pocket, you slide it through the card reader on the terminal, and the door hisses open. You wave the captain inside and take one last look to ensure you've not been spotted before following her in. You'd had first experienced You'd had first-hand experience of how this small room was, but now that you were inside with the captain, you quickly come to the conclusion that it was never designed for more than one occupant. The two of you awkwardly shift around each other, doing your best not to press each other. However, standing side by side and facing the large monitor in front of you, it's impossible for you to not nudge and jostle each other when making the slightest movement. With a frustrated sigh, the captain begins to type rapidly on the keyboard, bringing up a selection of different windows and screens. There we are, Lieutenant. It seems that our new captain doesn't have the technical wherewithal to restrict access to the system. Given that we appear to have complete digital freedom, what were you intending to look for? Well, I was thinking that if we could see whoever the bioscanner logged accessing the sickbay just before I went to visit Commander Quinn, that should show us who murdered the doctor. That shouldn't be too hard. The captain mutters to herself as her fingers fly deftly over the keyboard. Given that you'd only ever used essential functions on your terminal, you were amazed to watch the captain navigate various windows, menus, and reams of data and commands with such swiftness. Within seconds, all the coalesces into a small series of windows, each one titled with a crew member's name, and followed by a list of where and when they'd access anywhere using their keycards. There. Every crew member and a chronological list of everywhere they've been logged in, entering or leaving, starting with the most recent locations. You detect a hint of smug pride in the captain's voice as she presents her handiwork to you. That's great, Captain. Thank you. You feed back vaguely, your focus instead on scanning the list of locations and times that she'd obtained each member of the crew. You look through the records, pausing only to ask the captain to bring in a different window to the foreground so that you can review it. Despite a thorough inspection of everyone's logs, you're left with a problem. Captain, no one here is logged in as entering sickbay at any point near when the doctor would have been killed. Are you sure? Shifting towards the center of the keyboard, and pushing you up against one of the walls in the cramped compartment, the captain scans the logs, quickly skipping from window to window. From the looks of it, the last person to enter the sickbay was you, but that was well before the doctor could have been killed. Not long after I briefed you on your task in the hangar. In fact, this doesn't make any sense. Someone must have been picked up by the bioscanner when they went in. Don't worry, Lieutenant. There's more than one way to look at this. As the captain resumes her rapid typing on the keyboard, resulting in you repeatedly getting elbow jabbed into your ribs, the current batch of windows disappear, replaced by a similar looking but different set of data. There. That's a history of the entry logs sorted by room instead. Let's look at the sickbay. That can't be right. You lean into the captain to get a clear look at the information on the screen. No information? How can there be no information? The bioscanner tracks everyone. It's got us all on file. And I'm responsible for adding the biodata for everyone that comes on board this ship. And there's no way that someone could have a dummy entry without me knowing. The captain begins to type again, and you quickly press yourself against the wall to avoid another barrage of strikes on your ribs. No information. Sickbay 2129. Just before I got there. No information. Crew quarters 52102. Crew quarters 5? That's Cassie's cabin. Why? No information. Central computer 2021. No information. Engine room 1933. No information. Mess hall 1910. No information. Hangar 850. Just after you and Ensign Cruz had crashed into the hangar alongside that thing. Is that it, Captain? Are there any other logs? Maybe Vanessa said a dummy profile with fake biodata or something? The captain shakes her head, her brow furrowed as she stares at the screen. That's not possible. The profiles are created back at Europa Colony using biometric data from each crew member and then uploaded into the ship. She couldn't possibly get the security clearance required to make a fake profile. Maybe someone isn't working properly then. Bad data, maybe? Hangar 815. That's the first entry for no information. You both stand in silence. Were the logs really saying what you thought they were saying? I need to get some space, some air. It's too crowded in here. The captain does her best to turn on the spot, but still has to barge her way past you to leave the room. Captain, wait. Captain, come back. We need to... Okay, I don't know what's happening, but we might have got caught all of a sudden. So I'm just going to pause it here for this episode, and then obviously you guys can come back and keep watching for the next one. Thank you all for watching, though. I've had a lot of fun making this playthrough. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will definitely be seeing you guys next time. So take care, everyone.